Hello and welcome. Today we'll learn how to add fractions when the denominators are different. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share to your friends and loved ones. Thank you. Can we add these fractions directly? No, because the denominators are different. If the denominators are the same, we would have just added the numerators and we are good to go. Okay, there are two methods to this. The first method is that we look for the LCM. And what's LCM? The lowest common multiple between 2 and 4. Because 2 and 4 are the denominators in this equation. So we're going to look for the lowest common multiple. And what's the lowest common multiple? Multiples of 2 are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So those are the multiples of 2. And the multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20. You can see that, right? So what numbers are common between the two sides, between the multiples of 2 and the multiples of 4? You can see 4 on both sides, and you can see 8 on both sides. So their common multiples are 4 and 8. Those are the common multiples between the multiples of 2 and the multiples of 4. Okay, between 4 and 8, 4 is the least of the two numbers. That's why it's called the lowest common multiple. You look for the lowest. So 4 is the lowest, so we choose 4. So I just took out time to explain what the LCM means. It's not difficult. Once you master it, it's very easy. So 1 over 2 plus 1 over 4, we use 4 as the LCM. So 1 over 2, the 2 that's the denominator into 4 is 2 times. Then 2 times 1, that is the numerator, you have 2. Then 4 into 4 once. Then 1 times that numerator gives you 1. That's how you have 2 plus 1 over 4. Then 2 plus 1 gives you 3 over 4. So the answer is 3 over 4. It's not difficult. You can just say, okay, 1 over 2. 2 is the least among 1 over 2 and 1 over 4. Can 2 divide 4 without a remainder? If yes, then you use 4 as your LCM. Simple and short. But sometimes when you use a much larger number or different numbers that don't divide themselves, you have problem. That's why we look for LCMs. So for the second method, 1 over 2 plus 1 over 4. Step 1 is that you find a common denominator. And because 4 is greater, you use it as a common denominator. Between 2 and 4, you use 4 as the common denominator. So since we are using 4 as a common denominator, we need to convert the numbers. So 1 over 2 will now become 2 over 4 because you multiply both the numerator and the denominator by 2. Then 1 over 4 will still be 1 over 4. Then 2 over 4 plus 1 over 4. Since the denominators are the same now, you just add the numerators, which is 2 plus 1 over 4. So you get your answer, 3 over 4. So example 2 is similar to the first one, 1 over 3 plus 1 over 6. You can try it, pause the video and try it. Okay, so let's use method 2 for this example. 1 over 3 plus 1 over 6. So you convert the numbers. 1 over 3 becomes 2 over 6. Then 1 over 6 remains 1 over 6. Then the numerators are 2 plus 1 over 6. Since they already have the same denominator, you just add the numerators. 2 plus 1 over 6, which gives you 3 over 6, which is the answer. So the answer is 3 over 6, which is equal to 1 over 2. Remember, when we are converting and 1 over 3 becomes 2 over 6, it is not just automatical. 1 over 3 becomes 2 over 6 because the denominator was 3 and then you converted it to 6, which means it is 3 multiplied by 2. So you have to multiply the numerator also by 2, and that is why it became 2 over 6, because 1 over 3 is the same thing as 2 over 6. So when you change the denominator, you need to do something to the numerator. That is why the number changed. So here comes the challenge question. 1 over 2 plus 1 over 3. Please pause the video and try this. Look for the LCM. That's how to get this. So for 1 over 2 plus 1 over 3, we cannot use 3 as a common denominator. Therefore, we look for the LCM. That's the lowest common multiple between the two of them. And the lowest common multiple, using the method I gave you the first time, it's 6 here. So when we use 6 as a common denominator, therefore, you convert the numbers. 1 over 2 becomes 3 over 6. That's multiplying both the numerator and the denominator by 3. And then 1 over 3 becomes 2 over 6. That's multiplying both the numerator and the denominator by 2. So you get your answer by using 6 as the common denominator. When 6 becomes a common denominator, you just add the numerators 2 plus 3 over 6, which gives you 5 over 6. And that's the answer. So if you got the answer, congratulations. So always remember, whenever you get additions with different denominators, just find a common denominator, convert the fractions, and then add the numerators. That way you're good to go. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notification so that you can get our videos whenever it is dropped. So if you have any primary school maths problem that you want us to solve for you, just drop it at the comment section, and whenever we solve it, we'll put it on video so that everyone can learn from it. So until next time, bye bye.